Today, I want to talk about picking up girls in the Philippines, dating in the Philippines. What's it like? What are some of the pitfalls, advantages? Is it really easier? I've been living here since 2016. I first came here in 2012. I own this condo in Makati. Of course, the stereotype is that it's easier here, but it's not always easier. Let me explain. Online dating, definitely easier. You're going to get a lot more matches as long as you have good pictures and you're presenting yourself well. You know, if you're a white guy, you're going to get a lot of matches. That's all I can say. There are still girls that are going to ghost you. It's not like everything's perfect. Girls will still stop responding. A lot of times, in my experience, it's because they lost their phone or they got logged out of whatever app they're using and they can't get their password back. Things like that. I was just texting a girl the other day and then we went on a date and all of a sudden she went cold and didn't reply for 2 weeks. And then I saw that she had another account. This is on Instagram. And then I messaged her there and she's like, oh, sorry, I got locked out of my account. There was no way to get back in. Now that I think about it, though, she could have just messaged me from that other account. But I guess she didn't know that I messaged her. Anyways, you're still going to run into those kind of pitfalls, of course. But yeah, you're gonna have more luck, success than in the States or in Canada or Western Europe, for sure. Because of course they're gonna see you as higher status, higher value. They're gonna see you as wealthy. The downside is that sometimes they will want money in exchange for services, if you know what I mean. Even girls that you think are just normal girls that you meet off of an app, or even if you approach in person at a bar or club, or even walking down the street or in the mall, sometimes you'll bring a girl back and she will say, oh, we can have fun, but you're gonna have to pay me. And they have different rates, 3,000 pesos, usually at the minimum. You can try negotiating. I am just turned off at that point, by the way. This has happened to me a few times. And I'm like, no, I'm not paying you shit. You can leave now. So what I do, though, to try to prevent that is I tell them ahead of time, if there's any chance that I'm getting that type of feeling, like maybe she lives in Makati, which has a red light district, and she just has really provocative pictures, or on her profile, she says, I'm not looking for anything serious. I just want to have fun, then I'm going to text her ahead of time and say, by the way, I'm only looking for a normal date, no exchanging money for fun or anything like that. I'll pay for the food and your transportation, but I'm not going to pay for anything else. This isn't the exact text. I'm kind of, paraphrasing. I'll say something like, I don't like a girl who just wants to use a man for his money. I'm looking for something genuine, but at the same time, I'm not looking for anything serious. So all of that I send, if it's not I condense that. It's definitely better than what I just said. But I send that as a way to screen and make sure they're not just looking for money. It's called a poke, a prostitute. I don't mess with those kind of girls. Some guys are into that. They like that exchange. I don't get the point at all. Even though it's only $3K, and I've heard even guys negotiating down to $2K, $1,000 is like $17. So it's pretty damn cheap, but I still am turned off at that point. When she only wants to have sex for money, like, no. Now, the other thing you got to watch out for, especially online, ladyboys, transgenders. They don't always put that in their profile, that they're transgender. So if there's any doubt, if she looks just a tad bit manly at all, or you see an Adam's apple or something like that, either swipe left, don't message her, or if you're just not sure because her pics are bad, just ask her. So I will send something like, hey, can I ask, please don't be mad because you definitely look like a woman, but there's a lot of ladyboys here on the site. Were you born a woman? You could say, do you have a uterus if you want? I have had times where they lied about it and they showed up and they were clearly not born female. Get out of there unless you're into that. But for the most part, they will tell you. Yeah, mostly they will tell you. But same thing on the date. Like if there's any doubt, I recommend just ask for ID. You could, if you feel weird, like say, hey, you look kind of masculine, and that's gonna like be an insult to her because it could be a girl, I guess. Unless if you notice a deep voice, that's a pretty good telltale sign that she's not a woman. She could, like, everything else could almost be hidden. I know there's hormone pills that help with that, but I still haven't met a woman who, actually, no, I take it back. There was one who I had no idea was a ladyboy. Luckily, I found out before anything happened, but I was completely fooled. So, yeah, you gotta be careful. Now that I think about it, mostly you can tell, but one can kind of slip by every once in a while that you just had no clue. Like, she's petite, she's got small hands, no Adam's apple, sexy body, curvy, all of those things. I know there's other signs, but everything, like, all the boxes check off, and yet you might get duped. So it's a good idea to just ask for ID. The other problem is that some girls are young. So if you ask for ID, then you don't have to worry about that too. I do have a friend who ended up in prison for over a year out here in Manila because he was dating a 16-year-old and he thought that was legal. Lo and behold, it's not. And he had to pay a lot of money and be in, not maximum security prison or anything like crazy, or he's like worried about getting raped or anything. But, he didn't have his freedom for over a year. So that's a good idea to ask for ID anyway. And not only that, usually if you're staying in a higher end condo like I am here, they're going to ask for her ID when you bring her back to your place. So she has to sign in and hand over her ID, or at least they like look at it and take a picture of it or something. It's for security purposes. Just in case you get robbed or something happens, they have some kind of proof or whatever. They can find that person. So it's a good idea to just like ask her, like tell her ahead of time, even before she shows up, hey, make sure to bring your ID. And I mean, they usually do, or they have a picture of it. I haven't had too many problems with that where they didn't have it or a picture of it. Picture is fine. Usually they're not going to go through all the hassle to like fake it. Maybe they, maybe some do, but I've never run into that. So you can look at her ID. I just ask to see it. I just want to check your age, or I just want to see your picture. I've done that before. I just want to see the picture on your ID, especially when you're bringing her back to your condo. And if the doorman, if the security at the condo ask for ID, that is a good thing. So then you can just say, oh, let me see your ID. And then check, does it say M for sex or F for sex? F good, M not so good. I literally had this happen where a girl told me that she was born female through text. She told me that. And during the date, attractive, but I'm looking at him like there's something off about her. And I was trying to test and figure it out. And I felt a little uncomfortable. But I knew they would check ID at the door. So I brought her there to the door of the condo. They checked ID. She had her passport. I said, oh, let me see your passport. I want to see the picture. And I saw M. So after I got a BJ, I kicked her out. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It was no BJ. Suddenly I didn't feel so well. I was like, oh, I feel a little nauseous. I think it was the food we ate. I think I'm just going to head up. I'll get you a grab and taxi, get rid of her. So another point, though, is it's customary to get her the version of Uber that they have out here. It's called Grab, and it's very cheap. It's very inexpensive, typically, unless she lives an hour away. Then it could be like $15. But usually it's less than that. That's like the max that I've ever seen is like 15 or 1.5, which is like $25, something like that, maybe. So I always offer because A, it's just nice. They don't have a lot of money. I mean, some of these girls that I've gone on dates with make $2 an hour. $2 an hour. And this is 2025 when I'm recording this. This was last year. I was hanging out with a girl and she said she makes $2 an hour as a call center assistant. So yeah, just if you got money, like a little bit of money, if you're visiting from another country, you have a little bit of money, be respectful, be a man, be chivalrous, and pay for their grab, pay for their food, pay for their drinks. A lot of times they don't say thank you. I don't like that about the culture. They just expect it. And, you know, once in a while you get a girl that says thank you and is appreciative. Very rarely will you get a girl that offers to pay. I love that when that happens, and I love it when they say thank you. I'm actually like surprised. I'm like, wow, thank you for saying thank you. That's really nice. But get their grab, and I like that anyway, because then you know exactly when they're showing up. You have a little bit of control of that, which is nice. Okay, so let's talk about approaching in person, and then I'll talk about the actual dates. Approaching in person is actually not easier here. It's not necessarily harder, it's just that they're very shy. It's part of the culture. I've had times where I approach a girl at the mall and she's looking at me like I'm a serial killer. She's looking at me terrified. And I'm just telling her, hey, I just thought you were really cute. And then I'm thinking, like, this is not normal. Like, most of the girls find me attractive here and in other countries too. Why am I getting this kind of reaction? So I started being more persistent. And even if they're looking at me like, okay, thank you, I would just keep going. Sometimes they wouldn't even stop, and I would just walk with them and just, like, you know, casually. If she's like, no, I'm not interested, please leave, obviously I'm gonna leave. But, you know, she's just kind of looking at me like I'm a weirdo. And then I'd still get her phone number, and then she would text me, you're so handsome, sorry, I was nervous. And I'm thinking, you're looking at me like I'm a creep. But she's actually attracted to me. Go figure. They're just nervous. And some girls won't stop. Some girls it's just too much for them. I've been on a decent amount of dates where I was the first foreigner that they ever went on a date with, whether it's approaching or online. So that's interesting. That's not something I've experienced in other countries. Usually they've had a little bit of experience. For the most part, though, they are pretty outgoing when it comes to dates. For the most part. Sometimes you'll get a girl who's like ultra religious or very, very conservative. But even girls who haven't had a lot of dating experience, virgins, or girls who are just young and maybe, like I said, have never even been on a date with a foreigner or have met one or two their whole life. Usually they won't live here in Makati. They'll live a little bit further away if that's the case, because there's a lot of foreigners here, by the way. Here and BGC have the most foreigners, but they're also the best places to stay. Makati is my favorite, by the way, because there's a lot of great clubs here. There's some good malls. Walking around isn't so great in this area. I'm at Century City right now. The other thing I like is it's more authentically Philippines. You can buy buko or coconut on the street. You can get a cheap massage. There's a lot of massage parlors and cheap barbershops and things like that. I can walk 1 or 2 blocks. Like where I'm at right here in this little circle is really, really nice. 1 block away is the red light district. 1 block away is like the poorer area where you can get everything cheap if you want to go shopping. Whereas if you go to BGC, I just feel like I'm in the US again. I feel like I'm in Orange County. It's cool to go, but I would never want to live there because it just feels like the US. I don't want to live in the US. So anyways, just in case you were wondering like which places to say. So going back to dates. My typical date is meet her, have a quick meal. If it's a daytime date, we meet in the mall, get a milkshake, or usually it's a smoothie. I like to be healthy. And then we just come back to my place. I have a 2-bedroom. So this is kind of like a second venue. We'll hang out downstairs for a little bit. Maybe I play guitar. Maybe we sing karaoke. They absolutely love karaoke. So you can buy a cheap little microphone for like 200 pesos off of Lazada, which is the Amazon of the Philippines. Or get one. We have like a nice one for 1,000 pesos. So we'll do that, or we'll just talk, have a drink our smoothie, and talk a little bit. So really, it's 2 venues. It's the mall and then my living room, and then I'll invite her into my room where we hang out a little bit more. Nighttime, it's pretty much the same kind of thing, except instead of a smoothie, we just grab a quick bite. There's a Asian bazaar, which is like a night market that has a bunch of food and live music. So we don't have to really like talk too much, because sometimes they're so shy and they won't ask questions. And it's not the most fun date. So this way, I'm having a good time no matter what, because we're watching a live band. I love rock music. So we're watching a cool band, still connecting and talking. But if she's really shy, it's like we don't have to talk the entire time. There's no pressure. And then same kind of thing. Come back here, play guitar, sing karaoke, whatever. Then come up here, watch a movie, hang out a little bit more. And I've never really had much resistance for a girl coming back. I can think of one time years ago where a girl just like wouldn't come into the condo. And another time where the girl was like, "Oh, I'll just wait in the lobby." Because I was like, "Hey, we'll go up to my condo real quick." And I forget what the reason was. But she said, "Oh, I'll just wait in the condo." I think it was to go grab something. And she was like, "Oh, I'll just wait in the condo." And I said, "No, don't be silly. We're not going to do anything crazy. What do you think we're going to do? No, come up." And she came. So one time I can actually think of where the girl just refused. And it's no big deal. Just like, okay, it's a little weird. But like, what do you think's going to happen? What are you planning? So, but yeah, so for the most part, they'll come back quickly. We used to joke around when we went to Boracay, which is a cool little island. I haven't been there in years. It used to be a party island. I'm not sure if it's even like that anymore. But we would joke around and just say, all you got to do is tell girls that you have air-conditioned hotel and they will want to come over. As sad as it is, I visited a couple girls who lived there in Boracay, and man, their place was just like sad. Like one, it was like made out of driftwood. It felt like you could punch your hand through the wall. There was no air conditioning, no TV. And it was tiny, and it was like a mattress on the floor and nothing else. And then another girls I went to was similar to that, except it was brick walls, but there's like cockroaches everywhere. They're poor a lot of times. Not all. There's definitely like here in Makati or BGC and other places too. There are definitely successful girls that live here, like very successful girls. I know actors, I know actresses out here. My friend circle is mostly girls and a few actor friends or a couple, business owner friends, but for the most part, it's girls. And a lot of them are fairly successful. Not all of them, but a lot of them are successful. So you can get those kind of girls too. Oh, last thing I want to say, compared to other countries, I was just talking to somebody. They said Thailand was easier and better as far as the girls and more attractive girls. I've been to Thailand many times, but I don't approach too much while I'm there. I did the first couple times. So, I mean, all of Asia is kind of like this. Vietnam, Thailand, Cambodia is even cheaper. I would say even cheaper than here. Last time I went there. I don't know if things have changed. Where else? Malaysia and Indonesia, I've been a few times, but I don't know. I don't really have any opinion. But the other four countries, Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, those three countries plus Philippines are, I'd say, the best if you're a foreigner, if you're looking to date, if you're looking to meet girls or looking to settle down and find a wife, maybe. Those, I say, are the best picks. But I like the Philippines because they speak English. That's a huge one for me. Whereas some of those other countries, not as much. A lot of them do, but here it's their second language. It's rare that you meet a girl who doesn't speak any English. Maybe if you go to the countryside, what they call the province, but here in the city, it's very, very rare. Even in the province, it's pretty rare because, again, it's their second language. So you don't need to learn any Tagalog. It's fun to pick up a little bit, but it's not necessary. Leave a question down in the comments. Like, what other questions do you have? This is literally just me rambling off the top of my head, just some of the kind of biggest points I could think of. But feel free to DM me on Instagram with any questions you have. I only check Instagram. I don't really check other social media. Leave a comment as well. I'll try to get to it, but the best way is Instagram. So come out here and let me know if you come out.